not a YouTuber. So we're going to get all the studio functions and everything in order. So when we are done with the testimony in the evening, we can have proper lighting. And typically I have lighting all around, but I'm using a different room. I'll be using another room uh, when I have the opportunity to do so. Last time I had my did my live, there were people that were asking questions, and what I didn't do, and I apologize to those people, uh, but they were sending super chats, and unbeknownst to me, those super chats are an indication for me to answer those particular questions first and foremost. So if I see a super chat, I'm going to address those questions. At minimum, I'm going to read the questions, and then if I can answer the question, I will. If not, I'll just tell you I can't answer the question. But shout out to all those who have uh, did the super chat as well as the Cash App, which is Hip Hop Inquirer, just like the name Hip Hop Inquirer. We're gonna go into this. Today is a very interesting day for a number of reasons. Uh, what I didn't know before court started was that the last witness to provide testimony, which was a former employee by the name of Diana Copeland, she appeared on Good Morning America, and from what I saw, she really didn't hurt Mr. Kelly and when she was talking to Michael Strahan. But I would say that if this is going to be the normal order of business, leaving the witness stand and then going on a talk show, it it concerns me slightly, and I would say that some of the things because of rule of evidence you can't say, but on you can't say what you would say during a testimony, but some of the overtures that were made on this particular interview, I wish that was made in the same passion that was, that it was talked about in the courtroom. Uh, and that's the only issue I have. You don't go on the talk show after you provide testimony and not offer that same passion when you have the opportunity to. So it's almost like you look at a documentary, Survivor R. Kelly, and people have said certain things, and then when they've come had an opportunity to discuss it where it mattered at a trial where someone's facing their potential life sentence, that's when you need to say it. So otherwise I call it. I'm gonna use the term. My daughters use the term cap. You know, it's cap to me to say it when it matters. So today, another one of R. Kelly's former employees took the stand. Her name is Cheryl Mack. Cheryl Mack, prior to working for Mr. Kelly, she worked for Divine Stevens, who's a good brother that I know. She's also claimed to have worked with Jay Z. I don't know how. I don't know when that happened, but we're going to check the facts on that because I do know, I know people at Rock Nation, uh, and I just want to just see what she said on the stand jives with she told what she said on the stand. I want to make sure that it aligns with what was presented. So first and foremost, for those that are joining in, we're discussing testimony today, and those people again who have left questions. I'm going to read the ones that actually appear in the super chat, or even if it comes on the Cash App, I will have the opportunity to read those. But again, Cheryl Mack, she is the mother of I don't know if he's a platinum producer, but he's a producer of London on the Track. I actually worked with him, to fair disclosure, on a movie set called True to the Game 2 in Los Angeles. This happened, I want to say last year, maybe the year before the pandemic. So I've met London on the track, and I did see some while I was covering the trial. I did see some tweets talking about is he the same one that dates Summer Walker? He was dating Summer Walker from what I'm told, but he just came to court today to support his mother. He wasn't in the actual courtroom with his mother. He was in a adjacent court where the other supporters and security, well, not security, but supporters who support Mr. Kelly and the people who just curious who want to watch the trial from the overflow room. But yes, he did show up today. Didn't have an opportunity to get a photo of him coming out the courtroom because They got in pretty early and took their positions. But let's talk about Cheryl Mack's testimony. Uh, First thing she talked about is the time she spent with Mr. Kelly, prior to working for Divine Stevens, and Divine Stevens obviously was Akon's manager. She said she was in the employ for a number of years. She's around, Cheryl's around about 40 something, late 40s, 50. She talked about how she actually was responsible for booking a lot of flights for some of uh, the women who have accused him. But she did testify that she saw abuse, but what she did testify was the fact that it was a time when she was supposedly had been accused of double dipping, that she had to write an apology letter. And that was interesting that, someone with this type of experience, that, she was already seasoned in the industry to have to write an apology letter. And essentially it was because, you know, according to the cross, she might have done some things that was viewed by Mr. Kelly as unethical. And as a result, he had her write a letter. Now, based on, if you've been following the case, based on the type of letters people have been writing, they, they said they didn't do it, but then why would you write something if you really didn't do it? Like, you know, he didn't hold a gun to your head. In the case of her testimony, she testified that the reason why she did it because she was she felt intimidated, so to speak. But she also said that she left this employee. He was paying her about 10,000 a month, so she was there. She was making 120,000 a year. That's a lot of money, to be someone's assistant. So to show you yeah, I know assistants don't make that kind. My assistants don't make that kind, but that's another story. Um, but yes, that was one of the things that was brought out in the trial. Another, and this happened um, during cross by Deborah O'Canic. He was asking questions about her working with the various people in the industry. She said Jay-Z. She said, I think maybe she mentioned Beyonce, but she had a moment where they had to break because she felt like she was going to faint. I don't know if anyone reported that, but they had to take a break in the case because she felt like she was going to faint under cross examination. I don't know if the room was too hot because the room that the media was in was pretty cold. But yeah, so that did happen. What else was brought out was that it was an incident where R. Kelly was planning a surprise birthday party for celebrity Styles Cash Howard, who obviously styled a lot of his later projects, as well as I also remember that she one of the styling that she did for him, it was going to be into to the Hall of Fame because of the look that she prepared, but because of this case, they decided not to go with put that in the Hall of Fame. In any event, she allegedly no, she testified that uh, he got very upset with her because she spoiled the surprise for Cash. He cussed out, and just think about. I'm not making any excuses for him, but if you have a surprise birthday party for someone, uh, it was supposed to be a secret. He got upset because it was some planning that went into it, and for whatever reason, she was very, very. Uh, she said he was very, very upset. So, I mean, the way he reacted, that's how people react, sometimes. And I'm not making any excuses for him. But I want to ask this question: how many of you who had employers or bosses who yelled at you, but you still stayed there? Think about that. How many of you who had bosses who've yelled at you, but you still stayed there? I mean, it happens. It happens. So her testimony today wasn't damning, but she did say something about it was an incident where someone wanted to sue Mr. Kelly, and that individual, uh, whoever wanted to sue him, she apparently she knew who the individual was, and she claimed that he called her to where he was at the studio, and asked her to make a make a she had to make a ultimatum whether or not she was going to be on Team Kelly or she was going to be riding for the other person. And then he said something to the effect of people disappear, which that's kind of, and I tell you why that part of the testimony created a problem for me after listening to it. If he did say that to you, you still left, you quit and came back. You one of the people who quit after something like that happened, and you came back and worked for him. So I don't know how much weight that will have with the jury because they, obviously they're listening to the totality of what she testified to. So I think that may be a problem for the prosecution. But for the most part, I don't think her testimony was too damaging. Um, and you got to remember, I said this before. Each person by themselves is not proven a racketeering case for the prosecution, in my opinion. I don't think that they've even came close to proving a this is a criminal enterprise. And it's interesting that they have literally threw the kitchen sink at Mr. Kelly, and it wasn't like any witness that got off the stand. You said, "Wow, this is an open and shut case." I didn't get that. I got salacious behavior by different people involved, but I didn't get like this is a criminal enterprise, racketeering. Uh, it almost seems like the prosecution is saying that his sole purpose for being a recording artist is to have sex with a bunch of women. Just think about that for a second. If when you hear the evidence, you've heard the reporting, but it was more like a lifestyle, so to speak, than it was a case of, uh, with the exception of Sonia, a case of rape. With the exception of Sonia, there was, that her testimony was very sketchy as well. And I talked about her testimony, but I would just say that the prosecution, in my opinion, hasn't made the case. And the last witness is a expert witness, a psychologist whose expertise is in in rape, sexual abuse, not rape, but sexual abuse. So this is their last witness. And the last witness will be it's on the cross right now, and they will testify, continue Monday. So that the prosecution didn't rest the case yet, because I think they spend a lot of time with Cheryl Mack. That's pretty much why they didn't rest their case. Before I go any further, I'm gonna read the questions, see if we have any questions here that stands out. Hold on. Okay, I see no. Let's see here. And someone just made a very good point. Uh, you've heard the reporting that Mr. Kelly can't read well or can write well. He doesn't even remember. He doesn't even remember his social security number. So it would stand to reason that someone who couldn't read and write would need someone to write a letter. That would stand to reason. If you don't know how to write a letter, then someone else will have to write a letter. I mean, he could have recorded him saying the same thing, but he wanted them to write a letter. So that is a good point. Someone just raised that he couldn't write. He couldn't write himself, so he wanted someone to write a letter. I'm gonna read another question here real quick here. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking. Anything that stands out? Nothing's standing out here. I hear you, but bosses do yell, and You know what question? This is from uh, this is from absolutely. Some people will stay around, and some but I've been in employment early on in my career that bosses yell. They do it. Female, male, they yell. I mean, it's how you deal with the situation, but it happens, especially working in a high tense environment. Um, it happens. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the jury. Uh, every defendant has the right to have a jury of his or her peers. That's an interesting concept. His and her peers. I don't know if any of those jurors are rock stars, so to speak, but I do know that there are a lot of nine to five workers there. So you got to understand, Mr. Kelly or anyone in the industry's life is a lot different. They don't work traditional hours, and anyone that has ever worked with a like I was on tour with some big groups, and I can tell you they don't work 9 to 5. Their schedule is unorthodox. Like you'll have artists that'll get up at 8 o'clock at night, hit the studio, and they're working to 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and they sleep. It's like they're vampires. So things like you're touring, you're not working traditional hours, so the lifestyle's different. And I don't know if the jury can understand the way these big superstars work. Once you reach a certain level in the industry, you know, you have to have special extra security. You can't move the way you normally move. And we talked earlier about moving about someone's home, and how you just can't move about people's home freely without them being concerned. Like say if I give a big party, and one of the things I do after a big party is have security walk from top to bottom, make sure no one's hiding in the closet, which I found someone one time hiding in my closet, but they had company. But it happens. So you got to make sure you have. These are some of the things that you do as a superstar, and I just hope the jury can connect this and say that this guy is not an average guy, and some of the things that he does, and a lot of things he does, may not seem normal to a lot of people, and they're probably not normal because a lot of people haven't lived that lifestyle as it relates to um, fines, for example. Anyone in the industry know that if you are late to an appointment, you pay a fine. It's a 20 $25 fine. If you do something that, there are rules. So when the prosecution is talking about rules in the industry is a standard. Rules on your job or your SOP, standard operation procedures, that you have to do on your job is rules as well. There are rules in all jobs. You got to remember, this is not working in the music industry, working in film, working in television. There are different rules for that situation. Let me read another question here. Let me read another one. Yeah, what we got here? What we don't have super chats, so we ain't reading these questions here. Hold on. I would say yes. I believe someone asked, "Do I think Aaliyah and R. Kelly were married?" I would say that yes, there was a marriage certificate that was authenticated, and yes, they were married. So, do I think it was a publicity stunt? Well, no, I don't think it was a publicity stunt, because if it was a publicity stunt, it would have been plastered over all the media, and then. But why would it be? That stand it shouldn't. No, I don't think so. It was a publicity stunt at all. No, not at all. It's too hard to prove. What is the vibe in the court in regards to how people feel about Kaepernick? How he's challenging the prosecutor. He's doing an excellent job. Kaepernick has the nickname, the mechanic. He goes in and surgically, break down someone's testimony on the cross. He's actually a very good attorney. Another attorney I had the pleasure of watching do that was Johnny Cochran, the late Johnny Cochran. Very methodical in his approach to cross-examining witnesses. Very methodical. I mean, he turns it up. He can go from 0 to 100 in cross examination, and they don't expect it. I've seen pretty much most of the witnesses. He's gotten a reaction out of them, one way or the other, and some even came across as very docile, but he had the ability to at least bring out another side of them. Because in the prosecution, when the prosecutors put on their when they interviewing their witnesses on the stand, they all have a certain tone for the most part. But when you're on cross, that's different. Now the jury has an opportunity to see how they respond to questions that weren't really asked or redirected, or yeah, it's different. It's totally different. I think he has a great ability to bring a reasonable doubt to a conversation and to testimony. The fact that Cheryl Mack today had to take a break during the cross examination, it was telling. She said she felt faint. So I don't know if that was the pressure or that she really felt faint. So here we go. Let's see. Yeah, he's pretty good. You know something? And he's pretty. Ken is pretty good. And he comes from my borough. I grew up in the Bronx, so I grew up to by age 15. But yeah, he's really good. Not next question here. What do we have here? Okay, if you have questions, no statements here. I'm not going to read a statement unless just you have any questions here. Here we go. And I commend all those who have who's actually been following this case. And what I do see, which is interesting, I don't know if it's based on my reporting, but I'm seeing more media come out. I know I called the media out, but I see more media come out, which is I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but I would like to see more um, black media out there covering it. But the defense will be putting on their case next week. While they're still on the prosecution case because the prosecutor hasn't arrested their case, the defense case is going to be really interesting. And I do expect a lot of people to show up because there's going to be a lot more cameras out there because the witnesses obviously have to travel, for the defense in a different way. So I think there's going to be pretty interesting this week. This is next week rather. This is his time to put his defense on, and I think the world wants to know what his defense is. And someone asked the question, "Do I think Mr. Kelly is going to take the witness stand?" No, I don't think so. It would be foolish for him to take the witness stand. With competent attorneys like Kanik and Becker, I think it would be foolish for him to take the witness stand, and it would also give the prosecutors an opportunity to really, really aggressively. Once you take the stand, you open the door for a bunch of stuff, and I don't think that it's necessary. I don't think the jury, I don't think if I was sitting on the jury based on what I've heard already, I don't see the necessity for him to even take the stand. If I was sitting on that jury, because it's not like someone has said something extremely outrageous or that they listened to a video of 11-minute video and a 25-minute video, and obviously it was one of the last video was of someone that he was screaming on because he thought that they stole from him. And I guess his way of he had a few people that were stealing from him. Mr. Kelly had a lot of people that were stealing from him, that they admitted stealing from him, and some didn't admit, but there were people that were stealing from him. And I don't know where a lot of you from, but people handle thievery different. They handle it different. He's from Chicago. Those Chicago boys move a little different. So the way you would handle someone stealing from you, let me call the police, let me file a report, is different than someone else who would handle stealing. Now, is that to say his method was right? It was his method. It might not have been my method. But the fact of the matter is, people did admit stealing from him. And Nicole questioned two people, Navarro assistant and someone else. Uh, I guess that question wasn't from me. Let me just read this here. Well, I think the fact that Diane Copeland is speaking out in the public, speaking out, being a long-term employee of his, isn't, I guess it's good for the public opinion. Uh, and I think that her testimony wasn't even bad for Mr. Kelly. And when you can take a prosecution witness and bring him on your side of the board, that's always a good thing. Whenever you can take a prosecution witness and bring them on the other side of the conversation that it favors the defendant, that means that witness wasn't really a good witness. And there are certain witnesses, well, they're not witnesses yet. There are certain people I haven't heard from. And if the prosecution rests their case without calling these witnesses, in my summation, I'm going to ask why. And I'm sure they're going to ask why in their summation. And when the case goes to the jury, they're going to ask why you heard certain names during the case in chief, but when it came down to bringing those people in, you just threw it out there, but you left it out on the table. They're going to ask those questions, and they have already, if they're about to close their in their case, the question's still there. Why haven't you called this person? Or why haven't you called this person? Or why haven't you called Aaliyah's mother? You called the minister who officiated the wedding, but you haven't called the mother. Am I wrong to think that they should at least call the mother to see whether or not Aaliyah had a conversation about her relationship with R. Kelly? Am I wrong to want to know that? I mean, she would know better than anyone what her daughter felt about R. Kelly. Wouldn't you guys think that? Give me a one if you believe that. If you don't believe it, give me a two. But if you believe it, give me a one. And if you don't believe it, I just think that that's one of the witnesses I really would love to have seen. Right. It's, and this is a racket. This again, here's the problem. If this was a state case, the statute of limitation would have already expired as far as Aaliyah's mother. Well, I don't know if she would have even been charged. I don't think she would have even been charged. But the fact of the matter is, the feds had an opportunity to call her on this case because she is Jane Doe number one. So when you want to hear from the mother, if I'm a juror, I know the mother's alive. Why not bring her in to let her talk about what she thought about their relationship? The mother does have a say in this, but hey, I digress. Okay, someone said, "What about Barry? Good old Barry Hankerson." Yeah, yeah. They haven't called him either, and he was R. Kelly's manager. Wonder why they didn't call him. Wonder why they didn't call him. The two closest people to Aaliyah that could have provided more context to the relationship between R. Kelly and Aaliyah, the federal government didn't call them. So that should also raise a red flag for people. So when you're looking at this case, the absence of a witness should be concerning. And if the jurors think like I do, they're going to say, hey, I mean, we talked about a lot of this. They talked about a lot of this in there, with different witnesses, but you didn't bring the people in. Again, Jane Doe one. You put, Aaliyah was a big name. Jane Doe one. You want to bring witnesses in to either say, yes, she told me, she told me before she died that he abused me. And if Leah did say that, I would think the mother would want to get justice for her daughter. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you want to get justice for your child if she told you at the time this person abused her in some manner? I think the mother would want to do that. I could be wrong, but I don't know. Let me read this. Daryl. Why they gonna call Daryl? Why would they call Daryl McDavid? Okay. Yeah, you know something? If that's someone said he went on Dr. Oz, the thing I have here is, you guys have an opportunity. You're on these shows. You're going to Dr. Oz. You're going to all these talk shows, but you're not coming to the courtroom. How much credibility do you really have if you're not coming to the courtroom? You're releasing music during the trial of your niece. You're releasing music during the trial of R. Kelly. Sounds pretty self-serving, but I could be wrong. Let me read this here. All right, guys, just give me a second. I'm just reading some of the comments. All right, guys, I'm about to get out of here. I ain't seeing no super chats. I ain't seeing no cash app. What's going on? Make it jingle a little. No, guys, I'm gonna stay here for a little while. I'm gonna stay here for a little. The witness on the stand now is a Dr. Don. I had to pull the name up, but it's a psychologist. Who's on the stand right now. Cheryl Mack is done with her testimony. Uh, she's done. She is done. So I don't know if she's going to be on talk show tomorrow, but she's done on this witness stand today. We just have to see what happens in the days to come. I also heard. Well, I can't talk about it right now. I'll wait. I got to hold back on that. Guys, let's see here. What we got going on here? All right. Oh, okay. And if it's okay, yeah, yeah. I don't care what another blogger is claiming. If it didn't come out in the testimony, uh, I don't care. That particular blogger has done enough for this case. So yeah, we don't really care about that. Remember, that's entertainment. Oh man, I don't have PayPal. I'm sorry, I don't have PayPal. Isn't the Cash App word good in UK or Super Chat? I mean, hold on a second. Let me shout out this person. Who's this person right here? Hold on. Let me shout out this person. Let me see who that is. Thank you, Michael Holmes. Appreciate it. I appreciate it, Michael Holmes. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Now I want to say this, guys. Next week, so y'all can understand the magnitude of myself and my other colleague that is covering this trial. We have to literally, I mean, when I tell you, for covering a trial that this long, this trial is gonna be about a month. I think the defense's case is probably gonna be about 2 weeks. I think it's gonna be about 2 weeks, and it's the rebuttal. So that's gonna require time. That's going to require time for me to be in New York. That's going to require time for uh, my colleague to be in New York. Hollywood Next, she's traveled a distance as well, and it's going to require resources in order for. And next week, I'm bringing other people on as well, so I plan on making sure we have good photo coverage outside the courthouse and make sure we have good coverage inside. So we put a full court press on this defense of Mr. Kelly. We're going to make sure we cover it from gavel to gavel, from inside to outside. And if there's opportunity for witnesses to talk to us, wait, shout out. I love your. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Miss Legal Blonde 22. Thank you very much for that super chat. Appreciate you. That all helps. I eat lunches because I don't eat breakfast. I eat a big lunch and do a smoothie. But yes, we're going to make sure we have cameras inside. Well, not inside the building, but outside the courthouse, and if we can get some interviews out there of people that actually can, that can actually offer something to this case, that'd be great. What is the racial makeup of the jury? You got to remember, and this is important, and I think I spoke about this, but you might be just joining in. And that question is for that girl. So when the jury comes in, they don't go into normally they go to the jury box, which is to the left. But they sit in the gallery. So the only opportunity we get a chance to see part of the jury is when they come across the camera. We see them taking their seats because the way the camera's positioned, we can see them taking their seats. Uh, I would say that 70% of the jury is minority. When I say minority, uh, people of color, Spanish. But I promise you, I'm going to attempt to try to see when they come in on Monday, try to see what the makeup of the jury is as far as it breaks down to race. Okay, hold on a second. Let me see. Is there someone else I need to read? Okay, okay. Well, I would say someone said this, and I typically wouldn't. A lot of stuff you're right that was said on Survivor R. Kelly was said on that blogger's page. She actually had a lot of the people that went on her channel to talk about some of the things that was alleged. Um, yeah, I would say I knew about some of the stuff, not really from her page, but other people sending me links saying, "Oh, it's over there." But the interesting thing is, what that was said on the documentary wasn't really said in the courtroom, and it's just I think these documentaries open the door for a lot of scrutiny, especially if the people are coached before they're doing these documentaries. I think that I don't take a lot of them for face value if I find flaws in it from the beginning or certain people that are on it that probably shouldn't be on it. I'm not taking it all for face value. And obviously, it's a business. Even the production of it is a business. And they're doing Survivor R. Kelly 3, the trial. So you have someone from that production taking down details to use it for 3. And like we saw, and I'm not, this is no shade to Miss Diana Copeland, but the fact that she went from the witness stand to, and this had to be lined up. That's the thing you got to understand about, especially a Good Morning America show. It had to be lined up at least a week in advance, and I would think that there was a exclusive promise to Good Morning America. So when you have that in the back of your mind that you are going to be doing a documentary, you're giving someone exclusive, then perhaps your testimony may be skewed somewhat. I could be wrong, but usually there is someone just asked me to mention something. There's a motivation that it's not directly linked to the trial. Let me read this question here. Okay, and on Nightline tonight. Who's on Nightline tonight? Let's see here. I agree. She should have been called. I do agree. Okay, guys. Wait a minute. Hold on. I don't want to miss anyone. I don't want to say, hey, you missed me. Okay, who did I miss? I got you, Michael. Thank you, Mike. Miss Legally Blonde, appreciate you. That girl, what's up? Who else I got? Anyone have any questions to come in? Come on, hit that super chat. Let's go. There's a lot of questions here. There's a lot. Shout out to Alexander Williams. Alexander, I see you out there. Level up. What's good? Tiffany. Hey. Okay, I'm going to take a poll real quick. I'm going to take a poll real quick. I got to do this. All those who think, based on what they've heard in this trial coverage, think that Mr. Kelly is guilty of the charges that were brought to him. Give me a two. All those think Mr. Kelly's innocent. Give me a one. Okay. 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 So Dominique is the only one to believe Mr. Kelly is guilty. So in a jury box, based on all these ones and two twos, there would be a mistrial, barring a judge convincing the jury that, hey, you got to go back in and you got to look at the evidence again. You just can't come back and just, no. The judge is probably going to, if there's a potential of a mistrial, the judge is going to probably, in this particular judge, Judge Ann Donnelly, she might tell the jury, you're going to go back and try it again. So right now, the consensus here is hung jury or mistrial. You got two guilties, three guilties. I got three guilties in there. I got three, one, two, three, three guilty, four guilties. Okay. Okay, hold on. All right. Well, based on this poll, it would be a mistrial. It would be a mistrial. And we haven't even seen what the defense is doing. So right now, where we at right now, it is my opinion that the federal government has not made their case against R. Kelly. Where we at right now. So will defense change my mind? I don't know. Will the defense change me for believing that the prosecutors have not made the case? I don't think so, because this is a good defense. They would have to be very sloppy and not paying attention to what has been said in the court. And what I expect now, listen to what I'm saying. What I expect, the way this defense is going to approach the prosecution's case is they are going to look at every witness who have taken a stand and or have given testimony that can't be viewed as uh, critical for an acquittal. They are going to have to bring counter witnesses. They're going to have to bring every expert that testified. They have to bring a counter, and they're going to have to bring someone very skilled, someone who can refute the evidence that was presented, and as far as expert testimony. And they're probably going to bring it. Like I said, they're going to bring in the Savage young lady. They're going to bring Joycelyn Savage in. It would just make sense because she's the one that was closest to Azrael, with the exception of other people that that have been interacting with Azrael, but she was the closest to Azrael, so she's going to have to testify uh, whether or not what Azrael said was actually factual. Because you got to remember, those two were together even after Mr. Kelly was remanded. So we have to see what she has to say. But she's going to be a star witness, but she's not going to be the only witness. Because remember, you had Kate who testified, you had Sonia. I don't think they need to pay much with the case of Sonia. I don't think, unless it's someone's going to say that Sonia has had a propensity to make up stuff. I think they just leave that out there because there are a lot of people that are not going to, pay too much attention to what she said, just because there are a lot of holes in this story. Someone asked me what stood out in the trial today. What stood out? Probably the cross and what she said about what she said about R. Kelly being upset. Diane Cole, excuse me, Cheryl Mack, what Cheryl Mack said about R. Kelly being upset with spoiling the surprise party of Cash Howard. Well, it's obvious R. Kelly respects Cash Howard a whole lot. So for your boss, and you got to think, when you listen to this you listen to the prosecution case, but then you listen to all the nice things he did for so many different people. Like, he's done a lot of nice things. He's planned parties for his employees. He's given different people money. He's helped. He's done so much and people have left and came back to his employment. Usually, you don't come back to a monster, work for a monster, and you'll say, "Oh, I'm defending." No, I'm not defending. I'm just saying that it's not. It doesn't defy reasoning to come back to someone who's doing so much bad to you. You're planning parties. There was a video. There were several videos out there that we saw, and I really can't talk about that video yet because I don't want people to, you know. All I will say that there are witnesses that have not been called, and someone's going to wonder during the closing why weren't these witnesses, these potential witnesses, they're not witnesses, they're witnesses to attest to whether or not Mr. Kelly is guilty of some of the things that were said. But the absence of these witnesses is going to make the jury say, what is going on? And I think a skillful defense attorney is going to bring it up during closing. I think so. And I'm also sure that the prosecution is watching this video. Someone from their team is watching this video. And someone from the defense team is watching this video. But I would say that to the prosecution right now, I don't think you guys made a racketeering case. No. I don't know how this case even became a federal case. I really don't. I cover enough trials. You might have seen a documentary with sound effects and low lighting, and there are a lot of I don't know if you made this case. That's all I'm saying. We're gonna see. Right now, you're not there. And if I see this, I'm sure those jurors see this. Somebody in that jury is going to say, "Wait a minute. This is not what are we here for? This guy didn't pay for implants. This guy didn't pay for trips for people. People have stolen from him. People have gotten a stand and said he's done things to them, but then they admit they stole from him. You really got this is not that case that I think that you can. This is not a crime family case. This is not like the Gambinos or the Columbos or the Lucchese's or one of these or the gang, the MS-13 or these. This is not that kind of case. This is not that kind of case. It's just not. It's not. It really is not. And the other thing, I'm not a sexist or anything, but you got the whole defense team, the whole prosecution are women. The whole prosecution are women. And they're going hard. They're going hard on this case. So I don't know how the case is I think he's going to get acquitted. Um, or they're going to get a mistrial. I don't. I mean, there are a lot of charges there, but if it's one juror that says this whole thing, all these charges are BS, there's no way they're going to bring it home. No way they're going to bring it home. And if you're about to rest your case, you haven't really convinced a lot of people that this case is winnable. And that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion based on looking at the case from inside the courtroom, looking at how witnesses are giving testimony on direct and on cross. There's certain things that you see with certain witnesses, they trip up, and then jury sees that. They understand that. They see different mannerisms. They see different way they respond to the prosecution, the prosecutors, and to the defense, and they see that. And this is all a stage, and depending upon what actor is providing their lines, it's going to be read different for different people. But from sitting inside there, I don't think the prosecutors made the case yet. I don't. While some things, and I will say this, things did happen based on certain evidence, but it doesn't reach a racketeering. This is what I'm talking about. We're not talking about did Mr. Kelly do certain things. We're talking about, is this a case that should be prosecuted as a RICO or racketeering? You can think what you want about R. Kelly, but the law is the law. You have to reach the burden of proof. Otherwise, the defense has created a reasonable doubt. That's it. All right, let me read one or two more questions. I think, let's see here. Let's see. Okay, there's a lot of comments. I'm gonna read a lot of these comments afterwards. I do appreciate you guys coming in, tuning in. We're back Monday. We're definitely back Monday. I will do live tweeting during the breaks. But I think it's going to be a little. I think we're probably going to have a live camera out there. I'm just trying to see the logistics on doing that, but have a live camera outside, doing our reporting from outside the courthouse. Let's see what we got here. So many comments. I appreciate you. This is why the super chat is important, because the comments otherwise wouldn't stand out. There are just so many there. There's so many there. There may be questions that I could have answered. Okay, let's see. Again, guys, if you have this, I'll say this because I do check the mailbox sometime, or someone send it to me. If you got a tip, send it a tip at tips at hiphopinquirer.com. If there's something significant that you think I should look at as I'm looking at this trial, send me an email, or send an email there. Obviously, your name will be confidential, but send something. I'm going to vet it. It's not just going to go out there. I'm going to vet it and see if it has any validity to the story, and I'll take a look at it. So you have the opportunity to send it in. I want you guys to have a great weekend. Hold somebody tonight. Love your family. This is a very hard case to cover, and I know a lot of people that can't be there want to know that we're giving you factual information, and that's just my goal. Give you both sides, in my assessment of what I see. Um, Not what I think, what I see, and weighed against the likelihood that this did or did not happen. But yeah, this case is a case that probably should have been, if the statute didn't expire, in state court, you know. But hey, Tiffany, Tiffany, I tell you what, we have. She keeps saying give PayPal. Tiffany, what if I don't have PayPal? Tiffany, what I don't have PayPal? I don't have PayPal. I don't have PayPal, Tiffany. It's all good. Tiffany, why don't you take that? If you have PayPal, go donate to an organization. I don't know what organization. Sickle Cell or Lupus Foundation. Just donate to that organization. I appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of comments coming in here. Wow, unbelievable. Guys, good night. Appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you Monday evening. Follow the tweets. Appreciate you. Peace.